Three former members of the Supreme Court shared their views today on the proposed amendments to the Constitution. The full report from Freddie Abando.
Wit and wisdom prevailed in today's hearings of the House Committee on Constitutional Amendments. Former Supreme Court Chief Justice Renato Puno and his former peer Justice Joselito Mendoza stressed the current exercise of the House in proposing amendments without the participation of the Senate will be open to constitutional challenge. Since the Constitution states in Article 17, Section 1, that Congress must convene in a joint session as a constituent assembly, voting separately by a 3/4 vote of all the members of the Senate and the House to approve proposed amendments to the 7 economic provisions stated in Resolution Number 1 filed by Speaker Feliciano Belmonte.
Article 17, Section 1 should not be interpreted in any manner that will negate or derogate the bicameral nature of our legislature, which is the constitutional structure approved by the people when they ratified the Constitution. I further submit that we can take this approach without doing violence to the literal words of Article 17, Section 1 of the 1987 Constitution.
Congress is required by the Constitution to sit in joint session with its House, voting separately whenever it proposes an amendment or revision of the Constitution. And number 2, proposals for amendment or revision of the economic provisions of the Constitution must be definite and decisive and cannot be left a matter of resolutory condition by Congress, either by retaining the present restrictions or removing them entirely.
However, former Justice Adolfo Ascuna, who is a member of the Constitutional Commission which framed the 1987 Constitution, had a different view. So, with Father Joaquin Benlas, Congressman Rodolfo Fariñas read his position.
The Constitution is still Filipino. So it doesn't change the rule. Exceptions by legislation. And I think that for economic provisions in this day and age, that is a good approach.
What are the options for Congress, he asked. He says, first, the 2 houses of Congress might come together in joint session for the purpose of proposing amendments. How they are to organize themselves and by what majority they are to decide: simple majority, 2/3 majority, 3/4 majority, voting either jointly or separately. All these are for Congress to decide. Second, both houses might decide to do it the way they pass ordinary legislation. That is, as they are where they are, but voting separately by a 3/4 majority and only coming together the way they do in ordinary legislation to reconcile differences.
In the meantime, Congressman Elpidio Barsaga rose in defense of the proceedings adopted by the House. He said the rules provide the House has constituent powers to proceed with amendments from the committee level all the way to plenary, but will the Senate adopt the Constitution? The final stage is the ratification of the changes by the people.
And once we were able to attain the 3/4 vote coming from the House of Representatives, the same will be forwarded to the Senate with the hope that the Senate would be able to get 3/4 vote. At least that is our procedure, which we have adopted for the record.
For the People's Television Network, this is Freddie Abando reporting.